This is a bonus video with some extra thoughts and theories to follow up our main video about Dorne. Firstly, some background on Doran. When Doran was younger, he travelled overseas and visited the city of Norvos, where he met his wife, Malario. They had this exciting, romantic time in Norvos, with the bells ringing and bears dancing, and Prince Doran shining bright in clothes of red and gold and orange. Doran and Malario fell in love and got married, and it's unusual for a Prince of Dorne to marry a foreign woman from Norvos. Normally, you'd use marriage to make alliances with important houses in Westeros. So, marrying Malario wasn't a strategic decision, it was impulsive and emotional. We're told it was the only rash thing Doran ever did, and he ended up regretting it. Because after their marriage, Doran and Malario constantly argued, and when Doran sent their son Quentyn to be fostered with the Ironwoods, Malario was heartbroken. She left Doran, and she went back to Norvos. So, this relationship may have been formative for Doran. It was the one time he acted impulsively, and it was a massive mistake. So maybe that's part of why Doran has been so cautious and hesitant ever since, and so afraid to do anything without carefully thinking it through. Doran has a really complex and ambiguous relationship with his brother Oberyn. Because when Oberyn killed Edgar Ironwood, that was what forced Doran to give his son Quentyn to be fostered with the Ironwoods, to prevent conflict. And Quentyn leaving is part of what broke up Doran's marriage with Malario. She was horrified to have her young son taken away from her. So it's kind of partly Oberyn's fault that Doran's marriage broke down. It seems like Doran and Oberyn don't work together very well. But in Book 5, Doran says that he and Oberyn worked together closely. So it's unclear what their plan was when Oberyn went to King's Landing and ended up fighting Gregor. Because Doran says that he told Oberyn to just observe the Lannisters and nothing more. But in the same chapter, Doran also says that Oberyn promised to topple someone, so maybe their plan was for Oberyn to take down Gregor and Tywin. Some fans speculate that Oberyn planned to poison Tywin. So Doran and Oberyn's relationship and plans are ambiguous. It seems like they loved each other, and they were on the same team, but they often disagreed on how to get things done, with Oberyn being more bold and Doran more cautious. It's mentioned that right after Robert's rebellion, Oberyn tried to get Dorne to fight a war for Viserys, but Doran sat them down with Jon Arryn and made peace. So it sounds like there was a constant back and forth, with Doran and Oberyn balancing out each other's extremes. Author George Martin has said that he didn't expect how popular Oberyn would be as a character. He compared Oberyn to Boba Fett from Star Wars, a minor character who unexpectedly became a fan favorite because they're just so dang cool. George also mentioned Tytos Blackwood, a very minor character who some fans love because he's got a super cool cloak made of raven feathers. We hear an interesting story from Oberyn in Book 3. He says that years ago, the unnamed mother of Doran, Oberyn, and Elia was friends with Joanna Lannister, the wife of Tywin Lannister and the mother of Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion. Joanna and the Martell mother planned to arrange marriages between Elia and Jaime and between Oberyn and Cersei. It sounds like Joanna and the Martell were friends and wanted to join their families, and to form a powerful political alliance. But Joanna suddenly died while giving birth to Tyrion, and when the Martell asked Tywin to marry Cersei to Oberyn, he refused because he wanted to marry Cersei to Prince Rhaegar instead. Of course, Rhaegar ended up marrying Elia, so Tyrion says that the Martells beat Tywin there. But Oberyn says that Tywin got revenge against the Martells in the end by having Gregor kill Elia. So Oberyn suggests that Tywin killed Elia because of a grudge against her for marrying Rhaegar. This probably isn't actually true, because Tywin tells Tyrion that he didn't order the death of Elia, he only ordered the deaths of Elia's children, because Targaryen children could later try to reclaim the throne, and killing the kids proved Tywin's loyalty to the new king Robert. Tywin says that Gregor killed Elia of his own accord. But the point is that so much of the conflict between Oberyn and Doran and Tyrion and Cersei is inherited from the conflicts of their parents, of Tywin and the Martell mother. It's just like the Sand Snakes and Myrcella and Trystane are caught up in Oberyn and Cersei's conflicts. Tyrion thinks it all goes back and back to our mothers and fathers and theirs before them. We are puppets dancing on the strings of those who came before us, and one day our own children will take up our strings and dance on in our steads. A Song of Ice and Fire constantly explores these ideas of intergenerational conflict. When Arianne has her secret plan to crown Myrcella and spark war, she gets caught because someone told Doran about her plans. One of Arianne's friends must have betrayed her. But who? Arianne assumes that the betrayer must be one of her friends who came with her on the plot, Dray, Garren, or Spotted Silver. But in Song of Ice and Fire, the true answer to these kinds of mysteries is usually not the obvious answer that we're given right away. And Dray, Garren, and Silver are such minor characters that it wouldn't make for a very dramatic reveal if one of them was the betrayer. So some fans believe that the true betrayer is Tyene. Tyene is one of Arianne's closest friends. She says that she shares her secrets with Tyene. In fact, according to the official World of Ice and Fire app, Arianne and Tyene came up with this Myrcella plot together. Tyene just couldn't come with because Doran imprisoned the Sand Snakes. In Book 5, Doran frees the Sand Snakes and sends them to King's Landing and after Darkstar, and it's not really explained why Doran suddenly trusts the Sand Snakes when before he imprisons them. Areo Hotah wonders why Doran frees them. Fan writer Paul Quentin argues that if Tyene told Doran about Arianne's plot, that might explain why Doran suddenly trusts the snakes and frees them. It would be a big emotional reveal if Arianne discovers that one of her closest trusted friends betrayed her. It might lead her to see Tyene and the Sand Snakes more negatively. 'Cause, the snakes are introduced as being all sexy and cool and fighting for Oberyn, but when you think about it, the snakes are pretty horrible people who want to murder children and start wars. Tyene being the betrayer could help Arianne to realize this. But it's hard to explain Tyene's motivation if she betrayed Arianne, because Arianne's plot would have achieved Tyene's goal of war, so it's not a perfect theory. Another possibility is that Arianne's friend Daemon Sand was the one who told Doran. So one of the important locations in the Dawn plot are the Water Gardens, the palace where Doran spends much of his time. The Water Gardens were originally built for a Targaryen princess called Daenerys 100 years ago, so it would be very poetic if the new Daenerys Targaryen destroyed the Water Gardens. Daenerys probably will become an enemy of Dawn if Arianne marries Aegon, who will probably fight against Daenerys. And especially if Quentyn's friends come home and say that Daenerys' dragons killed Quentyn, that could turn Doran against Daenerys even more. Doran has spent all these years trying to protect the innocent children in the Water Gardens, so it would be such a brutal, horrific proof of his failure if Doran's plots caused a conflict with Daenerys that led to Daenerys burning these children. In the TV show, Daenerys does attack civilians in King's Landing, but will she be so evil in the books as to burn the Water Gardens, as well as whatever happens in King's Landing? A commenter on George Martin's blog talked about Dany burning the gardens, and Martin replied to the comment saying no, so maybe the gardens won't burn. But still, the gardens have got to play some important role in the ending of Doran's story. Because the story of the Martells is fundamentally dark and tragic. Elia, Oberyn, and Quentyn die, and Arianne and the Sand Snakes might be doomed as well. If Doran and Trystane also die, House Martell could go extinct. So, who will rule Dawn? Well, the whole time that Obara, Nymeria, and Tyene have been fighting for fire and blood, their sister Sarella Sand has been kicking it in the Citadel, learning math and magic and stuff. If she survives whatever clusterfuck comes to Old Town, maybe Sarella will come home to Dawn, pick up the pieces, and rule. It might not be legal for a bastard to rule Dawn, though that doesn't stop Ilaria in the TV show. So, alternatively, it could be the Ironwoods who'll take over. The Ironwoods have been rivals of the Martells for centuries, and Oberyn killing Edgar Ironwood didn't help. If the Martells die out, the Ironwoods could take the opportunity to take over Dawn. The heir to Ironwood is currently Gwyneth Ironwood, then her cousin, big man Archibald Ironwood, who accompanied Quentyn to Meereen. So you could imagine at the end of the story, if the Martells are wiped out in fire and blood, the Ironwoods could step over the bodies and take over Dawn, like that Norwegian guy at the end of Hamlet. So those were some extra little ideas about Dawn. If you liked this Alt-Shift extra video, let us know, and we'll do more in the future. Thank you for supporting Alt-Shift X, whether on Patreon or on Nebula. You make these videos possible. Cheers.